What's up guys? Welcome back to Learning Articom 101. Now, if you learned something from our channel, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so for today's quick and short video, we're gonna learn the importance of verbal and nonverbal communication and learn how to execute some of its elements. But first, what is communication? So again, communication is interacting with other people either verbally, with using the sign language, or through writing, and sharing with each other the thoughts you have in mind. Okay, now let's proceed to the first, verbal communication and its elements. So verbal communication, from the word itself, meaning communicating using words. Okay, so the first element of verbal communication, we have the pause. To pause is to stop talking for a short period of time or longer. I mean, it's hard to understand somebody when they're talking really fast. So if you want an important idea to really sink into the mind of your listeners, take pauses. So now, how to do a pause? Example, a teacher. A teacher takes pauses to indicate if students understand his or her lesson. Here's a bit.
This is a message to my fellow students. I know we are all struggling right now, but remember to never give up. Continue chasing your dreams. We can do this.
And that's an example of how you do a pause. Next element, we have the tone. The tone of voice usually shows the attitude or emotion of the speaker. It could be the speaker has a sad, happy, or mad tone of voice. Well, the tone of voice should be matched with the topic or situation you're in. For example, if you're teaching in front of children, you should have an entertaining voice or else they might get bored or you might scare them away. Here's a video.
I never said she stole the money. 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 I never said she stole the money.
And that's how you use the proper tone of your voice. Now for the last element of verbal communication, you have repetition and rephrasing. Well, unlike reading, if you didn't understand what you read, you can just read it again. But in this case, if your listeners didn't get the idea, they don't have a replay button. So as a communicator, it is important that you repeat what you said, or much better, rephrase what he said using simple words so that your listeners can understand it better. Here's an example.
Okay class, what is communication? So, communication is the act of conveying meanings from entity or group. In other words, communication is the act of sharing information. Did you understand? So again, communication is the act of conveying meanings from entity or group, or communication is the act of giving, receiving, and sharing information. Okay?
That's how you repeat and rephrase. Now we're done with the verbal elements. We're now going to proceed to the nonverbal elements. Nonverbal meaning communicating without using words. Now for its first element, we have gestures. It's hard when you're communicating without using gestures. You're just stiff. So gestures helps express a speaker's points better. But you have to be aware that some gestures may be acceptable for us, but it is not acceptable to others. So you have to be careful. Here's an example of how a gesture is done.
Come! Oh, Isa.
And that, my friends, is one way to do a gesture. Next element we have is eye contact. So a speaker must maintain eye contact when communicating or performing because he or she shows that they're serious of what's being discussed. Lack of eye contact could mean the speaker is unsure or is just inventing falsehood, like none of the things he or she is saying is true. Example, a teacher. When you're discussing but you're looking around elsewhere, the students might give the impression that you don't understand what you are discussing. Or, when you are performing, eyes in the audience, not on the wall, nor on the ceiling, or else they might say that you lack practice. Here's an example.
I shall pass to this life but once. Any good therefore I can do, or any kindness that I can show. Let me do it now.
And that's how you do a proper eye contact, not looking around elsewhere, just focusing on your listeners. But I know it will be distracting sometimes, so here's a tip we got from our teacher. Instead of looking at the eye directly, look at the forehead instead. It will create an illusion that you're having eye contact with them. Now, for the last element, we have facial expressions. Well, it's understandable. Facial expressions. It's when you laugh, cry, pout, facial expressions. And your facial expression should be matched with the topic of discussion. For example, if someone died, it would be inappropriate if you laugh. So you must have a sad expression too. Here's a video. And so we're done. So based on the elements we talked about, you could really say that verbal and nonverbal communication is important. They work together to convey a message. It establishes better perspective in the message being sent. The sender of the message as well as the receiver get what is the intended meaning of the message and can act accordingly. Right? So guys, that's it for today. I hope you learned something. Keep safe and stay tuned for more videos. Bye-bye!